What's up, everybody? Hey. We welcome you back to the Panic Room one last time for the series. I'm getting you the I'm not getting for clip yet. No. The series finale of the all-new sports show. I'm Wes Bradshaw. He's Ed Green. Folks, we're coming to you one more time. We have, you can look at this any way you want. We're going to wrap a nice bow on the 2016 football season. We're going to nail the final nail into the coffin of the 2016 high school football season. Any way you want to look at it, folks. That's what we're here to do. We're here to wrap it up. We've been teasing you guys for a month now that we're leaving. So after today,
time to finally do it.
You don't have to deal with us anymore.
The Blizzard really wanted us to stay around.
The Blizzard did, folks. We were planning to do this show last week, and then on Sunday morning, I almost slipped off my front porch. So I figured I'm not driving to Raleigh or wherever this is being taped. And
definitely not Raleigh. You're right. You're factually accurate. It's not Raleigh.
This is the burbs.
Yeah.
Which burb we won't tell you.
It's Raleigh at Jace.
Jace, good enough. Good enough. Still full of Yankees. Anyway, including one sitting in.
Yeah.
Hi. All right, folks. What we got for you today, like we said, we're going to wrap everything up, folks. We're going to take one final small look at the 3A state championship game. We're going to give you the final winner of the Crystal Clear Pepsi six-pack challenge. There was a winner, right? Okay, there was a winner. Wasn't me, was it?
No, damn it.
Okay, not me. But we are going to wrap that up.
Yeah.
And folks, after we let everyone else go ahead and put out their all area team, their all conference team, their all state teams, the All New Sports Show has the final say.
Yes.
And who were the best football players in the Nash Edgecombe Wilson County area? We're the only ones who do a full Nash Edgecombe Wilson County team.
Accurate.
It's true. We have some great guys. We have some great organizations around our area. But they don't cross over everyone like we do.
No, they don't.
So we are going to bring to you today the final all-new Big 22, which is, of course, a lot more than just 22 players. Because I can't just stop at 22. Folks, I've got to recognize these kids who had great football seasons. And there are going to be some who aren't recognized but still had great seasons.
Yes.
But, folks, it's a very talent-rich area, and a lot of people have great seasons. So we're going to be bringing that up. We may share a story or two, a few memories of the old days. Folks, we're going to have one more time for you guys. We're going to hook you into this. Your final 60 seconds of soccer.
We have one more chance to try and convince you guys.
One more chance to bring you to the dark side or the future, however you want to look at it. As I explained to my dad on a 4-hour trip last week, this is why soccer's taking over the world.
Wow.
Yes.
How'd that go?
He cut off his hearing aid after about 20 minutes. So, I don't know how much got through, but
some little earworm seeped in there.
It's all good. Folks, but one last time, today we are coming to you live. You can get up with us.
Yes.
We definitely want you people to talk to us. And folks, Ed Green is going to do what he does best. He's going to put us over.
Of course I am. You're currently watching this, if you're watching this live, on Facebook Live. That is facebook.com/allnewsportshow, right here at the home of the All New Sports Show, as it will continue to be even after today.
That's right.
This page isn't going away, so you're definitely going to be able to keep tabs of that. Yeah. All you people who wished it was, it's not totally going away. We, of course, also can be found on Twitter at All New Sports Show.
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I'm at Edward Green. You can find us there. You can also find us on our YouTube page, which you also might be watching this at, youtube.com/The All New Sports Show. You can find us there. You can also, of course, find us through email, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. That email address isn't being put to pasture, so you can totally still email us there if you'd like to. And lastly, you can definitely check out our podcast. If after today you want to keep hearing us blabber on, especially about that thing he was just talking about. And by the way, this week's episode might be absolute gold, so you're going to want to check in for that. He has opinions about things. So you're going to be able to check that out. That is the A Foreign Affair podcast. New episodes come out every Thursday on the iTunes Music Store, as well as many other places. And of course, you can catch them as well right here on Facebook.
That's right. So check us out on those mediums, folks, today while we're on live.
Yeah.
Hey, drop us a message. Drop us a comment. If there's something you want us to throw out there for the last time, something after 5 years that you need us to clarify. Like, who is Wes's favorite school? Let's think about that. Now's the time to
Who is Desmond McManus? Why isn't he back for the finale?
Oh, my God. I thought we buried him in the desert long ago.
That's fine.
The deserts of eastern North Carolina.
Yeah, all those.
So check us out today, folks. Drop us a line. If you want to tell us something nice, that's great. If you want to tell us something ugly, We probably won't read it, but go ahead.
There's literally nothing stopping you.
It's in the Constitution. You can write, I think it's the third thing on the Constitution. You can write whatever you want on Facebook. Abraham Lincoln said it.
That's who it's usually attributed to.
Abraham Lincoln said it on a podcast. I heard it.
Him or Gandhi.
Okay. All right, folks. So let's start off. Let's go back in time a little bit. Been about a month now.
Yeah, a little bit.
It has been about a month now. The 3A state championship game. The last time we believe the last show we kind of did was our little post wrap up from there. We bring up to you now, folks. It's like pulling a Band-Aid off a wound as South Point 16, Rocky Mount 7 for the Griffons. The dream of the repeat comes to an end. That long playoff winning streak Rocky Mount had came to an end as well, but it was a very hard-fought game.
Yes.
At the end of the day, Rocky Mount, nothing to hang their head about. An extremely good South Point team. At the end of the day, it just came down to lack of Rocky Mount being able to execute offensively.
Yeah, I mean, really, both teams really failed to execute offensively. If you look back on the stats, and I happened to take a peek at them right before he came on, just to kind of refresh myself slightly. Both teams failed to get to double digits in first downs in the game. I think Rocky Mount didn't get their first down in that game until midway through the second quarter. So this was a defensive struggle, which to me, at the end of the day, and I'm probably going to get accused of looking at it through Rocky Mount glasses, but to me,
which I supplied,
of course, and you have watched last year's game. I think last year's game still somehow managed to be a defensive struggle, but was still aesthetically pleasing. Both teams did move the ball and were able to score some points and were able to move the ball effectively at times. This game was a Ravens-Steelers game, for those of you who still follow the NFL out there.
When Ray Lewis was there.
Okay. Maybe
when it mattered to follow the NFL.
For you college fans, this was an Alabama-LSU game. This is circa like 2008, maybe.
Oh, we'll get this a few years ago. This is like 2013.
The 6-3 game?
Oh, it was magic. Yep. Still one of the best football games I ever saw. 6-3 overtime game.
This was not one of those. This was a very unbalanced contest in terms of defense versus offense for both sides. South Point really struggled to run the ball against a fantastic Rocky Mount defense. Same thing though for Rocky Mount. South Point just shut them down. And that's why I say this was a very unaesthetically pleasing game, and I'm not just saying that because Rocky Mount lost. This was just a hard game to watch from both sides. So at the end of the day, though, you're right. This is South Point's fourth state title since 1972. Rocky Mount's second runner-up as a state runner-up finalist. The first one since 1977. So, yeah.
Game obviously born of field position. South Point, I believe, all four of their, believe nothing, I know it happened, all four of their scoring drives started inside the Rocky Mount 35-yard line. 3 field goals and a touchdown. I think they had 2 or 3 more drives that actually start also inside Rocky Mount territory. How many did Rocky Mount have start inside South Point territory? That would be 0. That would be 0. Rocky Mount's only score of the game came off a great drive near the end of the first half, opened it up a little bit.
Really thought that was what we were going to see more in the second half, and it just didn't happen.
Shaheen Battle, 25-yard touchdown catch near the end of the half, gave Rocky Mount a lead. Going into the locker room, but in the second half, young man from South Point booted a late field goal that kind of put it out of reach after an early touchdown pass. That touchdown pass came inside the 6-yard line, I believe. So, for everything that kind of went against Rocky Mount for the day, they had chances late.
South Point missed a field goal, and that kept it 13-7. Rocky Mount had a chance to drive and ended up turning over on downs with about 5 minutes to go, I think.
And just at the end of the day, you could kind of feel late on this wasn't going to be the day for the Griffons unless there was a miracle waiting to happen. I think we used the miracle of the week before, though, at Havelock, the 99-yard touchdown pass. So for Rocky Mount, they do fall in the state finals. But you know what, Ed? It's a Rocky Mount team. It's a Rocky Mount staff that is very excited for the youth on that team. You had a great senior class.
Yes.
Do not get it twisted. It was a fantastic senior class for Rocky Mount, a group that won state titles as juniors, got there as seniors, sending one to the SEC, got a chance to send another handful that are going to play college football. So this is going to go down as one of the best classes Rocky Mount football ever produced. So those kids don't hang their heads about, but the sophomore and freshman classes especially, very, very high hopes for those groups going forward. A lot of Rocky Mount players after the game, the younger guys saying, well, we're going to be back. We're going to be back. And that's the attitude you want to have. It's not that, oh, God, Sherrod Green's gone, this is over. Oh, God, Artavius Richards is gone, this is over. No. It's guys saying, you know what, we know we've got to get back in the weight room. We've got to hit it because, hey, guess what? Southern Nash ain't rolling over for nobody. Northern Nash ain't rolling over for nobody. Hunt, Fike, they're not rolling over next year. Franklinton
is probably going to roll over.
They might. I don't know anything about them. I'm not going to try. So, but there's going to be another target on Rocky Mount's back this year, and they saw it this year. Playing with a target on your back, because when you're the state champion, you get everybody's best shot. You remember how intense the first Southern Nash game was, because Southern Nash said, "Hey, this is our chance to prove to everybody we don't care if you're the state champions. You're coming into our house." And Southern Nash beat them in the dirt the first game. Second game kind of turned itself over. But Rocky Mount got everybody's best shot this year, especially in conference play, and nothing is going to change on that going forward.
No, and that is going to be interesting. I think one thing I was really thinking about in the lead up to the show is thinking about the Big East next year. I got to go ahead and say this: if we're looking to 2017, I think that the Big East as a whole is maybe going to take a step back next year. I'm a little, and that's again saying from the heights of having a team go undefeated into the second round of the state playoffs and lose to the eventual state runner-ups from their own conference, who they actually beat already once. You have the eventual state runner-ups again from Rocky Mount, and then you had a Nash Central team who was really starting to kind of get on the rise. They're now out of the conference, and now what you're worried about is Hunt going to bring in enough next year to get back to being competitive? Is Fike going to be able to get an offense back that they didn't really have last year? And is Northern going to finally be able to take the next step forward? They do have that great quarterback.
Good young quarterback.
If he stays. Sorry, Northern, I had to do it. But and then in the subtraction of Central and the addition of Franklinton, who quite frankly has not been very good in recent years in football, I feel like overall the conference is going to take a step back, and that is something to think about going forward. I think Southern's going to be fine. I think Rocky Mount has promise. Like you were talking about, a lot of those young guys. Those young guys got to come good.
And you've got to find a quarterback at Rocky Mount.
Yes.
That's the thing, Southern, and talking about Southern, you'll see a little later on the all-new Big 22, we'll point guys out. Southern's got a ton of underclassmen who were all-new Big 22 guys this year. They're coming back next year. Both running backs, some linebackers. Just you've got big-time players coming at Southern Nash, and Southern always seems to be able to find linemen. That's one great thing about Southern. Southern's got numbers.
Yes.
They've got numbers, they've got bodies. They've got usually big bodies. That helps Southern. And also the quarterback position at Southern, depending on what they want to do, the quarterback position is not always make or break at Southern. Matt Hampton had a decent season, but I mean, to me, we saw times where they took Matt Hampton out and actually got better. And that's not to take anything away from the young man or anyone else at Southern. I just think, with the way Southern is right now, they're able to bounce back a little quicker, even though they're replacing a quarterback, even though they're pumping in a guy. I mean, you're going to have Nadir Thompson back. I mean, he's an NC State commitment already. He'll be back. Daewon Wilkins. As we said, both the running backs. They've got guys coming back. Southern's going to be okay. Rocky Mount, I think, has a ton of potential. Like you said, got to find a quarterback at Rocky Mount. You alternated a pair of seniors this year. There is no underclassman who's come in and taken snaps for Rocky Mount. That's going to be big. And at Rocky Mount, yes, they are more of a run-based offense, but with the way Rocky Mount plays offense, they need that passing threat.
The last 2 years have shown the big difference in how Foster Bell was able to really go, especially in the playoffs, and add that added attack, especially once we got to the state title game. And you saw that, take that one pass against Havelock aside, you saw where the somewhat lack of a passing game really affected Rocky Mount this year.
And so Rocky Mount's going to have to find somebody who can pull the trigger, who can make things happen. For Northern Nash, you want to feel Northern is on the right track. The thing is, we felt this for a while. And this year, you're going to see some guys on the all-new Big 22 that are leaving next year who were massive cogs in that machine this year. You've got to think, another year under Randy Raper can only help Northern coming up. Northern to me is a big question mark going forward. As for Hunt and Fike, Hunt's a massive question mark because Hunt has now gone through more upheaval in the last 3 years of their program than the previous 30 years of their program. They're now on their third coach in the last 5 years, where they had two for about 30 years. So, and while we saw some decent things out of Hunt this year, what I saw from Hunt was a team that was seriously lacking in talent. Yes. It seemed to be lacking in direction.
Especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Especially on the offensive side of the ball. And they're losing Tay Davis. Yeah. Who was kind of their everything on offense this year. They're losing him. They're losing the quarterback. Their line play was really down this year from what it's been in the past. I don't know with Hunt. And unfortunately for Hunt, with their coach now, they don't have a track record with him. He doesn't have a record of, there was about a 2-3 year stretch back in the early mid 2000s where Hunt was down. But you felt, hey, Randy Raper's been here, done that. They'll be back. Now, not that I don't think Hunt can be back, because we know talent always ends up at Hunt. But Hunt doesn't have that track record suddenly of knowing they can pull themselves out of this hole. At Fike, we've seen a track record from Tom Nelson, and that's the positive. Unfortunately for him, the last 2 years, 1 year he had offense, no defense, the next year he had defense, no offense. And they're definitely doing some rebuilding over there. Defensively this year, though, a huge improvement from Fike. Unfortunately, they did take a step back offensively, but that's what happens when you lose a 3-year starter at quarterback who was on his way to play college until he ended up getting drafted and playing pro baseball. And then a running back who was a 3-year starter who had I believe a freshman All-American season at the FBS level this year, or FCS level this year, excuse me. So, for Fike, there was that step back, but Tom Nelson has a track record. He has, pages and pages that you can look at where, his teams, be it Fike, be it Beddingfield, be it North Johnston, they've kicked ass and taken names. I think Fike, if I'm having to put a gamble on Wilson County right now, I'm putting my chips in the Fike corner as opposed to the Hunt corner. That's just me at the moment.
Well, yeah, and that to me is the reason I think they're going to take a step back as a conference is because of all those questions. Because at the end of the day, all those questions can't be answered positively next year. There's no way everybody's like, oh, Hunt just flipped the switch and we just got this great incoming class and now everything's fixed. Fike's not just going to be like, well, we got last year's defense back and we just totally revamped the offense and everything's great. Northern's going to be like, all right, this is the year we're taking the step and everybody's going to go 5-0 in conference. It can't happen. You can't answer all of these questions. And that to me is where the overall level of the conference, which, by the way, this was maybe one of the strongest, if not the strongest 3A conferences in the state.
I think it was very strong.
Especially when you think about those defenses, which, everything we said about Hunt, still very good defensively this year.
Everybody could play defense this year. And here's the thing, we talked about this kind of with the way the playoff seedings fell. My God, if Rocky Mountain Southern had been on opposite sides, what could have been? We could have those could have legitimately been both in the third round easily, but unfortunately they ran into each other in the second round and somebody had to go home. I think next year, and this is our ultra early look because we're not going to be doing a look next year, so we'll go ahead and throw our predictions in there.
Sure.
I think Rocky Mountain Southern are still going to be your teams to beat next year. I think they're just they both got too much already in place to really fall off. Like I said, for Rocky Mountain, biggest thing is going to be the quarterback. For Southern, it's going to be continuity. I want to see. You know what? Hey, I'm going out firing, folks. I want to see Southern Nash evolve.
Yeah.
And we saw it for a few years when Zach Foster was pulling the trigger and they had Taj Deans. We saw the evolution. This year it's, wheel square again. And that kind of ate me up. But understood, too, if they don't have the quarterback, it's great to say you want to have a 15-throw balance every game. If you don't have a quarterback,
you can't just go out there and say, I want to just pass, and then when you don't have a defense, Pep.
So maybe I just answered my own question when I said I've seen evolution of Southern. I'd like to see Southern get back to throwing the ball 10 to 15 times
I think if they can get the personnel. Zimmerman impressed me a decent amount. Even though he seemed to be more of the mobile option, it turned out.
But I believe, on top of my head, I believe he's a senior.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think they had a lot of senior quarterbacks this year. So there's work to be done there. For Rocky Mount, stay the course.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anything different. Yes, you can all call me a John Homer. I don't care anymore.
Jason Battle looks like he's figured out how to be head coach.
Exactly. Obviously, he knows how to do it. He knows what he wants to do. He's got kids in place. The one spot they lacked this year was at the quarterback position, and even there, you can say, well, Rocky Mountain didn't have much of a quarterback this year. And they went to the state title game and went 13-3. So if you can do that without having a really good quarterback, think about when you get a good quarterback. You get that guy who can throw the ball 15, 20 times a game right now. See, that's the thing. I'd like to see Rocky Mount throw a little more even than Southern. Because Southern, you still want to stay in that base because you're so good at it. With Rocky Mount, they've been able to open it up over the last few years, and it has been the evolution. You know, folks, I went through the Rocky Mount ages. I went through the bad ages. I've been there. I played there. I've seen Rocky Mount reach heights they had never seen before under B.W. Holt. The only thing that was lacking under B.W. Holt was the final little oomph of that evolution. His last year, a Rocky Mount team that was undefeated going into the Eastern Finals, they had the quarterback, they had the receiver, they got a little tight. And they faced a West Craven team that, granted, had 2 NFL wide receivers and ended up beating them. But I just think right now where Jason Battle has Rocky Mount, I think they are on as good a course as they have been since B.W. Holt was there.
Certainly.
Jason Battle, when you look at him, I mean, got a couple years older than me. I mean, we're mid-30s. You know, if it's also going to depend on Jason Battle's job ambitions.
Yes.
If he wants to do something different, is he happy in Rocky Mount being the Rocky Mount coach for 20 years? Because he can do it. And they will be a 3A powerhouse in the East.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying you're going to win a ton of state titles. You could, but you can get the kids there. You've got the infrastructure. You've got the coach. See what happens. Northern is just at this. They're at this point where it's like you're standing on this. And you can go here, you can go here.
Yeah, to me, it's weird. It's almost kind of like a more drawn-out version of Nash Central. Nash Central was really bad, really bad, really bad. Then they got Chris Lee, and they said, okay, we're still really bad, but we see progress. And then boom.
And then they got
then they got it. Then they jumped over that line. Northern's been like tiptoeing that line. I don't know if we want to cross to getting back to being really great. And they have a coach in place that can definitely do that. But they need to go ahead and start crossing the line.
And that said, I don't know everybody's inside thoughts or anything. There was a thought among my camp that Randy Raper was maybe a 5-year shelf at Northern. It's been 5.
Yeah.
Or I believe this, or is it this?
This will be 5th.
This will be 5 coming up. You know, here's your difference at Central, Rocky Mountain, Northern. Jason Battle, mid-30s. Chris Lee, I believe Chris is early 40s. Randy Raper's been doing this for 30-plus years. You know, when does Randy Raper decide to blow time on a career? That's a soccer reference for all of you out there. I just think right now, Central and Rocky Mount, they've got the young, dynamic coach. Northern, Randy Raper, I think, came into what may have actually been as tough, if not tougher, a situation than Nash Central. Not so much with the losing streak that Chris Lee did, but the way that program was trending and the way inside that program was running, it was brutal. And he had to clean out a lot his first few years. They've seen some fruits, and the thing is, they had this really good non-conference this year, and you were feeling so good about them. And then they got to conference, and suddenly they just could not get over the line. And I think it turned into a disappointing season for Northern because you had this defense that, what do you want to say? Northern, Rocky Mount, and Southern Nash, those 3 defenses were on par with each other.
Yes.
They were all that good. But the thing is, Southern and Rocky Mount could score the football when they needed to. Northern just couldn't. They do have the young quarterback. It's just you hope maybe you can keep that defensive base in there while you bring up the young quarterback, and then you could get something. Yeah. But Northern Nash, if they can keep the signal caller in place for the next 2 seasons, he'll be a junior. You keep that kid in place, Northern Nash does have a chance to take that next step.
We'll see.
Nash Central, not in the Big East anymore. Yeah. They've gone down to 2A. I think Nash Central is on a very good course right now because they're bringing back some underclassmen as well.
They are. They're losing a lot of their playmakers, but they're bringing back Travis Griffin, which is hugely important. And they're going down. I
believe McKinley Lyons is back too.
Mm-hmm. And they're going down to 2A.
Alex Nobles, who you'll see a little later on in Big 22, he's a kid who's coming back as a linebacker. You've got parts there. Mm-hmm. And like you said, going down to 2A.
And that I think is not only it's a conference that also, if it goes by that has the last couple of years, that's maybe a conference that's also trending downwards a little bit. Southwest might be starting to come back up. We saw signs last year late that maybe they're starting to develop some of those young guys.
16 years old. Yeah, it was a big time senior.
Died on. Washington has been as strong as they have in the last couple of years. Bedingfield's going to have to install a new coach this year, and with Tyrone Johnson leaving, this is a conference that could very well be up for grabs. I mean, the last week of the season, because North Johnston gagged, this was a conference that was decided between 2 teams who, correct me if I'm wrong, had 1 non-conference win.
They were sub 500. Yeah. They were both teams were sub 500 on the season. Washington ended up not making the playoffs because they finished second in the conference, but they have a sub 500. But here's the thing for 2A, for Nash Central, look at Nash Central would probably be licking their chops if they were still in the Big East in 3A next year. Here's the problem: realignment kicking in. 2A has become hell.
Sorry.
Guess who else is going down to 2A? South Point's going down to 2A. Guess who's coming up to 2A? Wallace Rose Hill, the 1AA state champion. You're going to have the 1AA state champion. They are too.
Yeah.
But they're not the state champion. Yeah. You're going to have 3 state champions playing 2A football next year. 4 state champions. You're going to have the 1AA, the 2A, the 2AA, and the 3A state champions all playing 2A football next season.
Sorry, guys.
Jesus, that's brutal.
Just catch them late and see if you can surprise them.
But for Nash Central, I think Nash Central is in the right place. They're trending upward right now. Chris Lee's come in. They've installed the system more than anything at Nash Central. They have changed the culture.
Yes.
We've been talking about it literally since we've been doing football. Now, folks, the All New Sports Show, this is year 5. I believe we did a year of football before this. So
2011
we
was our
did
first
6
time.
seasons of football, and we saw a really good Nash Central team in 2011.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it was a complete dumpster fire. And what did we talk about, though? We talked about it was the culture.
And it permeated through every sport. But you talk about that 2011 team. I think in a lot of respects, this 2016 team, maybe not as totally talented as that 2011 team, this team was better. They believed in themselves a lot more. They were much less self-destructive. Even take that last game aside in the playoffs, but even then, I believe they were down 28-0 in that third quarter and got it back to 28-21. Yeah. This is a team that in that last playoff game, and we know we've talked about this before, but could have easily said, well, this wasn't our year. Let's get a little more playoff experience. Let's see if we can get a touchdown before we go home, and we'll come back next year. No, they almost won that game.
They went all out.
That's insane.
And so Nash Central fans, you guys watching us who watched us for 5 years, we slaughtered your program for 4 of them.
Yeah.
We are going out on a high on Nash Central, trending up.
Yeah.
Those guys, under Chris Lee, they got the coach in place. They've got the coaching staff in place. Things are looking up at Nash Central.
Absolutely.
And I will give them the same thing I say Rocky Mountain. Stay the course. Stay the course. Nash Central has a chance to get themselves to completely forget these seasons that went, that were somewhat of a shame on that program.
Right.
They have the chance to get themselves out of that, not be known for that, and get themselves back to being one of the better teams in Eastern North Carolina. So Nash Central, phenomenal. Let's just go through it. We're just going to go through it. We're just going through it.
Why not?
Southwest Edgecombe. You talked about them. They are losing some big seniors.
Yes.
Dylan Hodges, we love him. We put him over hard, folks. Somehow he didn't make all area. But we're going to remedy that.
Yeah.
Dylan Hodges, you cannot talk about how important that young man was to that squad this year, especially. Last year when he came in and transferred
he was like the icing on the cake.
He was the sizzle on a darn fine steak. He was the sizzle. He came in. He kind of brought everything together.
Absolutely.
This year, he was the super glue trying to hold everything together.
Dylon, and Dylon.
He spits hot fire. For that young man, he played quarterback. He played linebacker. He kicked. Basically, I believe kickoff return was like the only thing he wasn't on the field for. And then, unfortunately for him, suffered an early season hand injury on his throwing hand, which made it a little tough to play quarterback. And you didn't see him play a lot of QB in the non-conference. I think that's why they really suffered offensively, is because this is how they had prepared to play offense.
Right.
And oh crap, now he's not here. Still played really good defense in that time. And that was another thing with Southwest Edgecombe. Defensively, they're right up there with anybody. They can play defense, but the problem was they could not score. And when you go back and look at that schedule, Eatonton Holmes played for a state championship. You had Nash Central. You had Tarboro. You had a good, hard non-conference schedule. And they went, they fought, they got one win in non-conference. I believe it was Bertie.
Yeah.
And they limped into the conference play where Southwest could have easily. And folks, I live in that area. I heard people talking, oh, this team, they ain't shit. They could have easily folded up, said, forget about it. We'll get ready for 2017. No, Southwest fought their way, much like, what was the third Batman movie? Batman had to fight his way out of the hole with Bane.
The Return of the Dark Knight?
Whatever.
The Dark Knight Returns?
That was it.
Yeah.
Remember, Batman's in the hole, and he has to fight his way out of the hole. That was Southwest Edgecombe this year. They fought their way out of the hole. They win the conference on the last week of the season. They get a little help from, I believe, Bettingfield. Yeah. But they win the conference. Or was it Farmville? Farmville.
Oh.
Farmville Central. Okay. They win the conference. They get a playoff berth. Yeah. And then they're so close to going to the second round of the playoffs. So their season ended on a higher note than what it could have. Those seniors went out feeling like they had done their jobs because I believe
got abandoned.
They did. Problem is, those seniors, that Dylan Hodges, a couple of those offensive linemen, those guys who were the stalwarts of this team, they are gone. They're gone, and Southwest is. You're not going to be able to replace a Dylan Hodges. It doesn't happen. They've got to be able to come together, though, and try to keep that progress going forward. Once again, as a resident of the area, I believe fully in Jonathan Cobb. I think they've got the coach. There's no doubt in my mind they've got the coach. I'm just wondering how long it's going to be before the buildup comes back at Southwest. It may be another year or two before that's a team that really has aspirations of deep playoff runs. Add to the fact you're in 2A now. Add to the fact that now Wallace Rose Hill's coming to your spot. Add to the fact James Keenan's in there. There's some really good teams. 2A football could become the most brutal division in the high school ranks here in North Carolina. And for Southwest, another thing we said about I want to see the evolution of Southwest offensively. Once again, it does come down to that.
Which they might have a coach that can do that.
I think they've got the coach.
If he gets those pieces.
And you know what? It's in the family blood. Charles Austin's favorite story to tell you was the year that Raymond Cobb had a 2,500-yard passer. I mean, it's not outside of the, Cobb spectrum to throw the football, but it does come down to you've got to have the guy to do it.
Right.
You've got to have the talent. I mean, I can want to throw the ball 40 times. If I've got me back there throwing it, we're screwed. So, for Southwest, I think there is continued improvement on the horizon. It's just, I don't know if it's going to be this year.
Yeah.
Bettingfield.
New coach.
I don't know what to tell you. We didn't do a lot of Bettingfield football anyway, mostly just because of how our
we did maybe their worst game of the year.
Yeah, and unfortunately we saw them at their worst this year. Tyrone Johnson's been there a long time. Tyrone's gone now. I believe they hired from within, so hopefully they can keep that going. This Bettingfield, you know what? I like some of the ideas Bettingfield has, but Bettingfield is also, they're an example of a team who they want to do something offensively, but if you don't have the personnel. a couple years ago, they had a young man, Kavaje Ellis,
yes.
who we love Kavaje
Fantastic.
Ellis. Kavaje Ellis was like the poor man's Michael Vick of Wilson County. And when Kavaje Ellis was there and healthy, that team was dynamic. They could roll with anybody. Once Ellis got hurt, they lost a lot of that dynamism.
A lot of it, because he wasn't the only one to get hurt in this peak.
Right, they had a receiver, I believe it was, oh gosh.
Comment if you remember the name.
They have like a preseason all-state wide receiver.
Yeah.
And that young man went down in the first game of the season. Yeah. And Kavaje Ellis kind of had to carry him. But that's what you saw, when Bedingfield's had the quarterback. I mean, Pierre Parker. I remember Pierre Parker very well at Bedingfield in the early 2000s. When they've had the quarterback to run that high-octane system, Bennett Johnson was fantastic. And that was actually Tom Nelson coaching that team at Bedingfield mid-2000s when they played Rocky Mount in the third round of the playoffs. That high-octane offense, when it's going, they can be dominant, but they've got to have the quarterback in place. Yes. And that's going to be another thing. Can they find the quarterback? Is that what they're going to continue to want to do at Bedingfield? I don't see why not. Yeah. It sets you apart. Yeah, it gives you the opportunity when you don't have the massive offensive linemen, the road graders to run for 4,000 yards. It gives you an opportunity. So for Bedingfield, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Tarboro.
Stay the course. It's like my John Kennedy. Stay the course. We will reach the moon. Tarboro. What's Tarboro's biggest plus in the offseason? Wallace Rose Hill's gone.
Yeah.
They are gone. They are in 2A to terrorize everyone else, to take nothing away from Tarboro. That said, I think in another year, Wallace Rose Hill might have been theirs for the taking. Tarboro, this has been a 3-year build with this class. A lot of these kids started off as sophomores and and played a lot and took some lumps. And then as juniors, they played more. And they started kicking some people's asses again. Tarboro, the 2016 season for Tarboro will be remembered as being forged in the crucible. Yes. That 9-day stretch where they played Franklinton, Northern Nash, and Southern Nash, and then the next week played Southwest Edgecombe. The kind of surprising loss to Northern, the heartbreaking loss to Southern. We talk about Southern being undefeated. Tarboro had them on the ropes. Yeah. The problem was that was game 3 of the 9-day crucible. I think Tarboro just literally ran out of gas in the fourth quarter of that game. One of the games of the year that we did on our Friday night high school football coverage. Here's the thing for Tarboro. Most of those kids are back.
Yeah.
And the youngsters, the sophomores this year, had some really good sophomores this year. They've got good freshmen coming up. 2017 could be the return to the top for the Tarboro Vikings. As we said, no James Keenan, no Wallace Rose Hill to worry about. That said, they know they're going to be in for a war every week. They are the epitome of the hunted.
Yes.
There's no team that has a bigger target on their back in Eastern North Carolina than the Tarboro Vikings. I'm expecting massive things in 2017 from Tarboro.
They will be losing Dawson Harris.
They will
which was a weapon that Tarboro didn't usually have.
And that is an X factor for Tarboro. Is for the first time, the last couple of years, for the first time really since we watched them, Tarboro knew they could go into a game with a better kicker than everybody else. That's going to be something to see if they can replace. I'm going to tell you, in Tarboro, North Carolina, they don't come around every day. In Edgecombe County, North Carolina, kickers don't just come out every day. You guys talk to me in about 11 or 12 years, I'm going to have you a girl kicker. That's the All New Sports Show Princess. Yeah. She has a heck of a right boot on her. I'm going to tell you that now. But that is going to be something big time for Tarboro to look at because I think offensively, defensively, on the lines, they're loaded. Yeah. They're going to be fine. They've got experience. They've got talent. They've got toughness.
They are going to have a brand new conference to go through, though.
They are going to have a new conference. I don't foresee that conference changing much. I think it's going to be maybe a more week in, week out. It'll be a better challenge. Yeah. But I don't even see why that conference coming up and, taking the crown from Tarboro, especially in year 1 of that conference. But for Tarboro, I think they're, stay the course. Yeah. There's nothing else to say for those guys but stay the course.
North Edgecombe.
The thing I say for North Edgecombe is it's like rolling a dice at North Edgecombe. What is going to show up when practice starts in August? This past year they were blessed. They had size on the line. They had 3 or 4 guys who could run like the wind and could do so many things. The problem with North Edgecombe, and this is not a problem that's going to change anytime soon, as long as North Edgecombe is open, they're just not going to have numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell you folks, what you've seen coming out of Leggett and out of the Edgecombe County side of Brattleboro and the Edgecombe County side of Whitakers, that area, it's incredible the level that North Edgecombe has stayed at in the 25 plus years of this now. When Raymond Cobb went out there, they've had some down years, but it is incredible with the number of players they have coming through, the lack of the number of players they have coming through, the socioeconomic trials that they have to go through out there. It is incredible the level of talent that school has produced. Don't forget, they've got a kid in the NBA right now. They've got Montrezl Harrell's in the NBA. You know, even before him, they had a basketball team that went to the state finals that was extremely good.
Which you can do that at North Edgecombe with basketball, as we've said sometimes with prep.
Yeah.
You can do it when you just need to bring 5-6 guys together, maybe 7, and put out a great team.
Exactly.
It's so much harder in football.
So much harder in football, and it's incredible. And one thing, you know, they've benefited in the playoffs, maybe some from playing those smaller schools. But I'll tell you this, in that conference, while Tarboro was running through the conference, you look at teams like Riverside Martin, Northampton, you know, those are schools that are they're bigger than North Edgecombe. They're a good size bigger than North Edgecombe. And North Edgecombe has not only played with them, North Edgecombe's beaten them. And you wonder how long they can hold out on that.
Yeah.
That area of Edgecombe County is continually shrinking when it comes to numbers. You know, when Raymond Cobb was there, the numbers, they weren't, I mean, trust me, we're not talking Rocky Mountain numbers here or anything, but they had still higher student population. They keep shrinking. There's been rumors forever that North Edgecombe's going to shutter and combine with Tarboro. Jeff Craddock probably wouldn't mind that. That'd be awesome for him. But, you know, Keith Perisher, he has done such a great job of taking the hand he's been dealt and take away Tarboro. Basically take away Tarboro, and this team either beat everyone in their way or were within points. I mean, look at the Eastern Final, playing a Plymouth team with the pedigree of Plymouth.
It felt like the Eastern Final.
It was the Eastern Finals. Yeah. I mean, what, 7-2?
Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's Plymouth, who has the pedigree of being there over and over. So, you know, for North Edgecombe, it's a fight, but I'm so impressed year in and year out with what North Edgecombe is able to do with the resources they have.
Yeah. Lastly, prep.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it. It's so hard to field a consistent football program when you don't know year in, year out who's going to be there and who's not. It's impossible. You don't have the feeder school. I mean, you know, you look at Tarboro, Southwest, Rocky Mountain, Northern Nash, Southern Nash, you know, those schools, their kids are playing together when they're 10. And then, you know, when they get to middle school, they're playing together. And then they get to high school and they're playing. I mean, I feel for Rocky Mountain Prep because I think 3/4 of their players just show up and have to meet their teammates and try to figure out who each other are every year. I might be a little wrong, but that's just the way it looks and feels to me. And I just think that's really tough for them. And, you know, we talk about on a basketball court, it's one thing. As you think about it, I mean, you can take your 6-7 guys on a basketball team even, hey, we're going to play AAU together this summer.
Yeah.
You're going to play 30 games over the summer together. In football, there's no, hey, we're going to just keep everybody together all summer and go play and get it. I mean, you practice for a month, if that. You don't get a month. And then it's like, all right, guys, you got 10 games to prove yourselves. It's brutal, man.
It's tough.
Brutal. Rocky Mountain Academy.
Really would be interested to see if they want to go to 11.
Want to see them go to 11. Want to see what the future holds at Rocky Mountain Academy. Not just the 11-man. They got a young coaching staff.
Yes.
Now, they've got some old heads sprinkled in there, don't get me wrong. They've got a young coaching staff. And you can sit there and say all day, well, young coaching staff, they'll grow together. I want to see that growth, though.
Yeah.
I think Rocky Mountain Academy this year, while the record was good, Rocky Mount County beat who they were supposed to beat. Mm-hmm. I want to see Terrell Huggins beat somebody he's not supposed to beat.
Yeah.
I want to see that happen at RMA. That's the step. That's the step you need to take, and then losing in the playoffs when you were the favorite.
Not great.
That wasn't great. And of course, in 8-man, it's so small and compact. Yeah. And I understand. I mean, you're playing. God, it's literally 8-man. It's literally an 8-team state. But that's why I would like to see them move themselves to 11-man. Mm-hmm. But guarded optimism right now for the Eagles. I see it. Guarded optimism. All right. So, folks, that's our 2017 preview.
There you go. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So look back on this and call me an idiot in September. So whatever. We're going ahead now, Ed. Do we want to...
I think we want to do for one more time the most exciting minute of your week.
It's time for 60 seconds of soccer. Best young coach in the world. Best German
the team that came back from the dead.
Wolves.
Yep.
We love you, Nick Petrovich.
Best young coach in the world?
Oh, I'm throwing it in there. I think he's the best young manager in the world.
How old is Simeone?
Older than him.
Okay.
Older than him, by God.
All right.
Best German person in the world.
Okay.
Take that, Merkel.
Yeah.
You and your immigration.
He's a great almost fighter.
You and your immigration policies, but whatever. All right. I'll give you the first 30 because you won.
Yeah, 4-0. It's kind of becoming a habit. I do like that our Twitter account cheekily put out at the end of the match that it was a 1-1 draw, as has been the case against West Brom for about the last 3 years. We just draw 1-1 with them. That's what we do. But no, Tottenham goes out and beats Tony Pulis' side 4-0 at White Hart Lane. Harry Kane with the hat trick a week after his baby is born. He's a new dad.
Who's your daddy, West Brom?
Right now it's Harry Kane. And I tell you what, I don't want to jinx it, but they have a trip to Man City coming up this week. That could be interesting.
City full of men.
I don't want to say anything because we're third. We went back to third.
We'll talk on that.
Interesting team. This is a team. They're Tottenham, so you never know. They have a big lead to make up. You never know. Maybe.
Folks, as you know, I despise the year 2016. Yeah. The only thing I want back from 2016 is the form of my beloved Reds.
And Joel Matip.
And Joel, God, yes, I hate you. So sorry. All right, folks, today, Liverpool Man United, the biggest game in the world of the century every year. Mm-hmm. For the first time, I believe, since 1988, Liverpool and United draw both league matches. So usually there's a winner, but today a 1-1 draw between Liverpool and Man United. United, it was such a stomach punch because, of course, Zlatan scores the equalizer for United, even though Valencia was offside. Whatever, the FA is not going to give us anything against United. Mm-hmm. For Liverpool, when I saw the Liverpool lineup today, the fact that 18-year-old Trent Alexander-Arnold was at right back.
Always like seeing a 66 in there.
Well, Klein picked up a rib injury, so he was out. The whole Joel Matip fiasco, screw you FIFA, and the fact that we're wearing the toxic sludge today, everything kind of equaled out to, oh God, what's going to happen. Milner hits the early penalty. I thought Liverpool were good for the 3 today. I thought we outplayed United. Now, United picked up late. They did, but I still thought Liverpool, the best team, deserved the 3. They get the 1. And Ed, to finish the final 60 seconds of soccer, is there any more fitting place for it to be than Tottenham and Liverpool tied at 45, second in the table?
It's not bad.
That's where we ended.
Slightly better because of that goal difference.
You guys got some of the goal
difference. But we're right there, level on points.
Sitting there at level on points as we end. We're equals as we end 60 seconds of soccer. Yeah. Now, the only thing you don't have ever on me is a win.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't beat us, but they're getting their draws.
We'll see how Fortress Anfield reacts in 2017 if it's still Fortress Anfield.
But folks, for us, look, 60 seconds of soccer. We know for a lot of you guys, Clint Williams.
Yeah.
This was your time to turn the channel every week and check out Carrie Underwood singing her song. Whatever, folks. Hey, we just wanted to give you guys a little taste of the continental stylings of the world.
And you mentioned that. Big ups to NBC for moving their game to Sunday night instead of today. knowing that we were going to be ending our show today. Great job. That's what happens when you know the executive producer of Sunday Night Football. You get things like that to happen.
There you go, folks. So
you're welcome, America.
You can watch that other game tonight. The Lord wanted you watching the All New Sports Show today.
Yes.
The Lord and NBC. So that's it for 60 Seconds Soccer. Now, Ed, real quick, if you folks at home, if 60 Seconds of Soccer has swayed you to the beautiful game.
5 years of beating it down your throat.
Ed, if they want more than 60 seconds, say they want 78 minutes of soccer, where can they get that?
They can get that on the Foreign Affair podcast. You can check that out in the iTunes Music Store, Google Play, the TuneIn Radio app, Spreaker, Stitcher, anywhere great podcasts can be found. You can find it there, as well as on this very Facebook page. New episodes every Thursday.
That's right, guys. So definitely check us out there. Follow us there. Hey, you never know. We might even drop in just a little high school. I usually would give them a little high school talk. I made you wait till the end before I do it. It'd be always, anything else to add? Oh, yeah. We're kicking ass. All right, so 60 Seconds of Soccer. We salute you, Jurgen. It used to be Brendan. Yeah. It used to be AVP.
God, how far we've come in 5 years.
It used to be Tim Sherwood. Oh, God,
how far we've come in 5 years. So much better.
Oh, jeez. All right, folks. So for that, let's wrap up something else, Ed. Let's go to the final.
Oh, no, that's next. Sorry.
Okay, what do we want to do next?
It's the all-new Big 22.
Oh, do we want to do that? I was going to take that to the end for
That's the order.
I was waiting to keep them around.
The slides were in.
All right, folks, so we're going to hold on to that. The all-new Big 22. Here we go. Folks, as we said, the all-area teams have come out, both Wilson Times, both Rocky Mount Telegram. The all-conference team has been announced. NC Preps went ahead and announced they are all-state teams. 3A, 1A. Here in our area, we got multiple players on each.
Yeah.
Let's give those guys real quick. In the 3A ranks, Sherrod Green, Detrell Rivas, Isaiah Gay of Northern Nash, all three making NC Preps 3A all-state teams.
Sorry, Southern.
Sorry, guys. And in the 1A ranks, three, I count them, three. Tarboro Vikings, linebacker Jaquel Staten, Romello Denton Pippin, both off that fantastic Tarboro defense, and kicker Dawson Harris. Yeah. So 6 of our local athletes are recognized by NC Preps as all-state. Ed, it was fitting last month was Festivus, and we never got to finish Festivus because I'd like to start off by saying to, not so much Wilson Times, I thought they did a good job, our friends of the Rocky Mount Telegram and the All Conference, I have a lot of problems with you people, and I'm here to talk about them. We'll go down as we go down this list. I'll throw in my 2 cents.
All right.
Start off at the what's considered the most important position on the field.
The only one that has just one person nominated on the all-new Big 22, which, again, is more than 22 people. Quarterback, Travis Griffin out of Nash Central. Had a great season. We talked about him when we were talking about Nash Central. He's going to be back next year. He's going to have to be one of those senior leaders next year, especially on the offensive side of the football. But this is a guy who did big things this year for Nash Central, led them on a couple of comebacks, and has really helped, along with a lot of that team, and of course head coach Chris Lee. But he's a big reason why the culture is starting to change at Nash Central, as well as a few other guys we'll get to in a minute. 16 touchdown passes, by far led the area. Passing yards led the area. For Central, they were really, out of all our teams, they were the only ones who really subscribed to the airmail this year. That said, they ran the ball well. They were a very balanced team, but Travis Griffin is your quarterback on the all-new Big 22. Now let's run to the position, folks. This is the toughest one to pick. I saw what you did there.
Running back, which in an area like, we cover I believe, was 11 public school
academy,
teams.
I think it's. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Right, 11 public school teams. And that's where we kind of limited the Big 22 this year was our public schools. I never got good stats for any of the academy. So, the running back position, everyone runs around here. So it's hard to pick out the best ones. We went in, we did it. For us, starts off B.J. Sanders from Rocky Mount, Kendrick Bell from Southern Nash, Zonovan Knight from Southern Nash. Zonovan, that's Bam Knight. Bam. We know him as Bam.
Multiple all-new sports show player of the game.
Absolutely. Zonovan Knight had a fantastic season as a sophomore.
Yeah.
Vernon Whitaker from Nash Central really showed a lot this year. Became that guy that they really relied on to run the football. And Deontay, they call him Fuki Williams from Tarboro. he was the best running back out of a really good core of running backs at Tarboro. Now, this is where we come up to our first issue. B.J. Sanders somehow did not make all-conference. How does that kid with 1,200 yards rushing, double-digit touchdowns, leads Rocky Mountain rushing? Doesn't make all-conference, and not to take anything away from D'Angelo Collins and Charlie Williams, both made all-conference with about 400 less rushing yards apiece.
Maybe Ethan and Patrick are good friends of the Rocky Mountain Telegram. Maybe because they came in late.
Well, no,
they only based it off.
No. This was the all-conference team.
You're right.
This was all-conference. I think he made the Telegram's team.
My apologies.
He made all there. This was all-conference.
Yes.
So I think somebody didn't have their eyes open this year. I thought B.J. Sanders had a heck of a year running behind an offensive line that had its moments where it wasn't the best, and running against some of the best defenses in the state.
We'll get to a bigger travesty later.
Oh, God, yeah, definitely.
Wide receiver, Travis Griffin threw to C.J. Pierce a lot, and C.J. Pierce was very good at catching the football at Central. K.K. Edwards at Rocky Mount, a very good target, even suffered an injury in the playoff game against Southern Alamance?
Was it?
The third round game.
I believe so, yeah. So,
I just don't remember if that was
Southern Guilford.
Southern Guilford, excuse me.
Right.
As well, and out of the tight end position, Nathan Paris out of Southern Nash.
And Paris was actually more in as a tight end for his blocking. He was kind of like a sixth offensive lineman for them, but he was such a good ball player this year at tight end. We wanted to recognize him. Those are about the only two wide receivers who were catching footballs this year.
Next year, not that there will be an all-new Big 22 next year. Maybe if we go back to Rocky Mount, maybe Shaheem Battle.
Shaheem Battle could definitely push his way onto that.
We saw him in the title game. We saw him a couple times earlier in the season.
Right. Had a play of the week for us.
Yeah, in that title game, though, basically getting into the end zone pretty much by himself on a pass that started at about the 20-yard line and muscled his way in. That kid's going to be a force, but congratulations to these three receivers on their honor this year.
On the offensive line, the big hog mollies.
You love these guys.
Folks, this was a tough one to pick. There were some really good ball players. David Keck, senior center at Rocky Mount. That young man's an absolute warrior.
We love Chase Miller. We'll get to him later, but part of that Chase Miller kicking game is the holder and the center, David Keck.
That's right. Keck last year was a leader as a junior on the state championship team. Came out this year a little more depleted on the offensive line, but that kid put in everything every single game. He was fantastic. Josh Taylor was the best offensive lineman on a team that just ran for days at Southern Nash. And the thing is, there's a couple teams, Southern Nash, I'm probably going to put 2 or 3 guys on there, but I wanted to spread the love a little bit. So we went Josh Taylor's our number one. Quatavis Harrell, the Man Mountain himself, an absolute force on the left side of that offensive line for North Edgecombe.
Absolutely.
As they had a pair of 1,000-yard rushers, and he was an absolute road grader. Tyreek Lyles of Beddingfield could have probably gone also on the defensive line. That young man was a big hoss who we watched for a couple of years, clearing the way and protecting his quarterback. Right. And then, folks, I had to get I had a couple guys here, but I had to go to the source themselves. I said, if there's one guy on Southwest Edgecombe who had a strong offensive line this year, some strong players on, I said, who are you running behind? Jeremy Ngo is your 5th player on the all-new Big 22's offensive line.
Also, just real quick before we go to the defensive players, we love getting your comments on Facebook. We love, Pell Foster says, thanks for covering the football finals. You're very welcome for that. Lynn Parrish Bradshaw saying, I don't know, going to miss you guys. Thanks for covering sports in our area. Hope Denton Edwards says, hashtag Vikings, number 7, Romello Denton Pimpin. You're welcome for that one. And then, oddly enough, now it's been changed, so I'm going to delete that comment. Clint Williams getting in. It was really weird when the all-new sports show commented on its own video there.
It happens.
He says, thank goodness I missed the soccer, but made it in time for the finale. So,
deuce.
Better late than never.
Here we go.
D lineman.
Now, real quick, folks, we love the offense. We love offense.
Long list. Folks, but reflective of defense being incredibly strong this year.
Exactly. This was by far the strongest unit. This may be the strongest defensive unit we have ever put up here on the all-new Big 22. I would go to war with literally any one of these kids playing football for me.
Great guys.
They're fantastic. We're going to start on the D-line up front, folks, and you can't start without Artavius Richardson, the Rocky Mount Telegram Defensive Player of the Year.
Part of that spine we always talked about, that Rocky Mount defense, the very beginning.
Absolutely. And then you go to the big man in the middle for Rocky Mount, Thomas Battle. The numbers weren't huge, but if you watch Rocky Mount play defense, everyone had to run around Big 72 because that young man was a monster in the middle. He took 2 blockers with him every time, kept those linebackers clean, and gave a lot of easy runs to a lot of the players. And now I'm killing you, Telegram guys. I love you guys to death, but right now we're going to go right here to Isaiah Gay from Northern Nash,
who was a Max Preps
NC Preps All-State 3A. 19 sacks, 21 tackles for loss. Isaiah Gay and Artavius Richardson are going to be like the best defensive end pair you could ever see. Rocky Mount Telegram, how did this guy not make all area? 19 sacks, 21 tackles for loss.
Does seem odd.
When we saw early, he was our All-New Sports Show player, or our All-New Sports Show Player of the Week once, and probably could have been a couple of other times when we saw him. He is an absolute force of nature. So Telegram guys, y'all missed that one bad. Yeah. Sorry. Demetrius Perry had a fantastic year for Southern Nash, double-digit sacks from the defensive end. Isaiah Allen from Hunt. We saw Hunt. The only time we saw him, not a lot stood out. That kid stood out. He's huge. He's like 6'3", 260. He's quick. He hits people hard. He's a tackling machine. Philip Willoughby had a fantastic year on the end for the Tarboro Vikings. So many guys on Tarboro that sometimes a guy or two gets overlooked because of how good they are. But Willoughby, you couldn't miss him. Kevin Farden for Nash Central. He controlled the front of offensive lines for Nash Central defensively. Really came on later in the year and helped Nash Central claim their stake in the great defensive race of 2016.
Mostly also at linebacker, Alex Noble's a huge part of that, a captain in the middle of that defense.
He's only an underclassman too.
Exactly. He's going to be a defensive force next year for Central. From Rocky Mount, both Sherrod Green and Rod White. Sherrod Green, he was the state title game defensive player for Rocky Mount. He had 14 tackles. He probably could have been the defensive player from both sides. And he's going to South Carolina. Sherrod Green, hurt early in the year.
And his numbers, while good, his numbers didn't really reflect, because you think he missed 2 games early in the year where he did not play, played sparingly in the next 2 back, and then sat out the Hunt game at the end of the year to keep him fresh for the playoffs.
Well, he still kicked.
Oh, of course.
That's why he was our player of the game.
There you go. But you know, he's such a presence. You know, the thing is, here was the thing with Rocky Mount defensively. If you got past 1 and 2, you had 3 and 4 back there chasing you, and God help you if you got past those. That's where the big hit came next. We'll get to him. Jacoby Ward was the Jacoby Ward, Jaquale Staten. A linebacking duo for Tarboro. I think that those guys are just fantastic. Staten, of course, making All-State at the 1A level. Daewon Wilkins there for Southern Nash. Southern, another one there were so many good players on that Southern defense, guys who contributed. Daewon Wilkins stuck out, was named the Big East Defensive Player of the Year with Isaiah Gay, who didn't make All-Area. Telegram. So I'm killing you guys all the way up. I love y'all, but I'm killing you. But for Wilkins, huge year at linebacker, and he's only an underclassman too. He'll be back next year. So
and then when you look
that was the toughest one for me to do was linebacker.
And then when you look at the D-backs position, which in our area, because as we talked about earlier, a lot of running. These are guys who are having to kind of be the last line of defense. If somebody gets through the line and the linebackers, it's up to these guys, and nobody in my mind was better at covering ground and being the last line defense this year than Detrell Rivas. Absolutely fantastic. He seemed like he was everywhere on the field at once, and when he hits you hard. But other great players as well.
Absolutely. Nadir Thompson, as we say, is an underclassman from Southern Nash. He's heading to North Carolina State next year, or in a couple of years now. Just maybe the most dynamic player in the area, speed-wise, flat-out speed. You know, another thing, a lot of these DBs didn't get a huge chance to shine because, like we said, not a lot of people threw, and when they did, they threw short. But Thompson was a guy you just stayed away from. Nadir Thompson, also great as a return man. Romello Denton Pippin, we talked about him a little earlier, made the 1A All-State team, best DB on that Tarboro team by far. You didn't try to throw deep on Tarboro because Pippen was back there. Shaheem Battle. We talked about Shaheem. We're big fans of Shaheem Battle. He's a sophomore. You saw the moments this year that he's capable of. I think Shaheem Battle has such a huge future ahead of him at Rocky Mount.
And already, because as we mentioned this before when we were talking about the Havelock game, his pick six, we talked to the coaching staff and we talked to him. He knew where to be because of all the prep work he did. He read the play perfectly. If this kid keeps up, he keeps his head on his shoulders and just stays within himself, this kid is going to be a phenom at Rocky Mount.
And he's got the size. That's the thing. He's a 6'1", 180-pound corner.
Yeah.
That is Division I size. He's got the speed to go with it. Heck of a football player. Had the touchdown catch in the state title game, so he's got a lot of experience. We're going to see where he's going next few years. Cam Hill, a guy that we talked to Cam a few times over the last few years as our player of the game.
Absolutely.
For a Hunt defense, you had Cam Hill at the back. You had Isaiah Allen at the front. Those guys were absolute players this year. They did everything you asked of them. At a certain time, there just wasn't so much that they could do. Let's go to our next page. Our next page are our specialists. This was the coin flip of coin flips because this doesn't usually happen. We had two phenomenal kickers this year in our area. We had to flip a coin over who got what. Dawson Harris ends up being your kicker. Chase Miller ends up being your punter. You can flip that. I think you'd be just fine. But those two, great kickers don't come around every day at the high school level. And we had two amazing ones. Even really maybe three. Yeah. Really good ones. And if you want to talk about Sherrod Green's kickoff, you're a guy. We love you, Sherrod. Yeah. But, those two, you could flip them either way you want to do it. They were both studs. Going down now to our athletes, folks, these are guys who they played both sides of the football. You probably could have put them in at different places on this team. Yeah. But, folks, it starts off with a bullet, our number one athlete. And there's only 5 men who could have been that play. Who are they? They're Dylon, and Dylon. He spits hot fire. He's Dylan Hodges. 2 years ago, he was our all-new Big 22 Defensive Player of the Year. And the kid has not let us down since. No. Last year, an amazing junior season at Southwest Edgecombe. This year, we talked about it a little earlier, he had the injury bug. He was playing a lot more offense this year, and that actually brought him onto this part of the team as an athlete. Because he played quarterback, he played linebacker, he played everything. He kicked, he did everything. As they say, he mixed the Gatorade at halftime. The ultimate utility guy. And he was. And I'm going to really miss that kid. Yeah. Love Dylan Hodges. Malik Dickens from Tarboro did it running the football, did it playing DB, playing some linebacker. Kid had a fantastic season both sides. Shaquem Hussey for Tarboro, another one. He was their best receiving threat on a team that didn't throw a lot, but really came on as a really top-notch DB for them as well. Took kicks and punts. Very good player. Ahmad Lyons. These guys right here, Ahmad Lyons and Mike Sherrod from North Edgecombe. You could have fit them in anywhere. The thing is, both of them were over 1,200 yards rushing. I believe Mike Sherrod had like the 7 or 8 touchdown game late in the year. But here's the thing. They end up as athletes because at North Edgecombe, you've got to do both. And both of them were phenomenal defensive backs as well. Just great seasons from both these guys. They deserve all the credit in the world. Kenny Johnson at Fike, one of our favorite guys to watch over the last few years. He's another one, plays receiver, plays some running back, plays DB, just does everything. Tay Davis, we've been watching Tay Davis literally Tay Davis's reign has gone about as long as the All New Sports Show because he came in as a freshman and was seen as this guy's going to be huge for Hunt for 4 years. And he was their leading rusher, got over 1,000 yards. How he did it, by God, I don't know. But had a solid senior season. I would have loved to have seen that kid running behind Hunt Lyons about 3 years ago. Yeah. Really as the number one as a senior because he could have been really phenomenal, but also as a big time DB for him. And Kenny Sims at Beddingfield. Kenny Sims was always the X factor for us at Beddingfield. Unfortunately, when we saw him earlier this year, he got hurt early in the football game, didn't come back. I really wish I could have seen a big game out of Kenny Sims as a senior personally. But really good football player, played both sides of the football, fantastic. And that kind of wraps up the Big 22 portion. As you saw, we go over 22. But hey, you can never recognize enough kids, right, when they're good. But we're going to recognize a few more. because it is the Macho Man said, the cream always rises to the top.
Yep.
And folks, you had to have the cream of the crop. And we're going to bring them up right now. You got your coach of the year, your offensive player of the year, defensive specialist of the year. We're going to do this one last.
Okay, that's fine. Because we have issues.
Offensive player of the year, Travis Griffin.
Yeah.
As we said, it wasn't a huge year for offense in this area, and Travis Griffin had just a great year for a Nash Central squad that was reasserting themselves into the conversation of, hey, we're here to stay. Yeah. We're not, we're not going to back down from anybody. I think Travis Griffin, big kid once you get next to him, really. I didn't realize until I got next to him, I was like, God, you're like 6'3", 6'4". Jesus, you're big. He's got the body. He's got the arm. I think he's going to have a big senior season coming up for the Bulldogs. Absolutely. But he is your all-new Big 22 Offensive Player of the Year.
What we thought was going to be the rubber match between Sherrod Greene and Dylan Hodges ends up...
injury bug killed.
Yeah.
Injuries.
They get tackled out by Detroit Rivas, who did just phenomenal things this year.
And folks, we talked about it earlier. This was literally one of the toughest things that we had to come up with. I mean, when you've got Isaiah Gay, 19 sacks, 21 tackles for loss, you've got a Sherrod Greene, you've got all these fantastic. You got Dawan Wilkins, who was the Big East Defensive Player of the Year. So many of these guys so good. But folks, what we saw personally, this guy Detrell Rivas had one of the best seasons I've ever seen from a high school defensive back. 8 interceptions. Double-digit tackles, it seemed like so many times we saw him. The Southern Nash game in the playoffs, I mean, he was an absolute missile coming from 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage to hitting people up around for 1 or 2 yard gains. So many times we saw him as, if they get past the Detrell Rivas, they're going for touchdowns. And he would stop people in their tracks, stand them up, put them down. Had huge interception after huge interception this season.
What I would always say about him, and I know I've mentioned this before, but just to show how great he is, I think he also impacts the game because of being that last line defense. It's just like when we talk about soccer, it's like having a great pair of center backs. It allows your midfielders, even your defensive mids, to go forward and try to make plays. It allowed Sherrod Greene and Artavius Richardson to know, I can maybe over pursue just a little bit, get a big play, because I know that if I do miss, this guy's going to be there to make everything okay.
Rivas, another junior. So you see, folks, juniors. Yeah. We love the junior class when it comes to our players of the year. Last year as a junior, Sherrod Greene, your defensive player. The year before, Dylan Hodges as a sophomore, your defensive player of the year. But that was such a tough one for us to pick. So many guys so good this year. But to us, Detrell Rivas was our defensive player of the year. And that's cool. Hey, we're different than the All-Conference. We're different than the Rocky Mountain Telegram. And we got no problem with that.
And as we mentioned, again, a coin flip.
Specialist of the year, it really came down when you put the numbers to each other. I mean, we'll do it kind of like you're talking about playing on FIFA. Are you Chase Miller was a 94, Dawson Harris was a 93. That was the difference. I mean, they're both Ronaldo Messi when it comes to the kicking. Both had fantastic years. Chase Miller got the nod. To me, it was the night in Havelock. When he just hit clutch kick after clutch kick to keep Rocky Mountain that football game.
We talked about it, when Detrell Rivas scores the 99-yard touchdown pass, and then he has to wait to kick the extra point that still had to tie the game.
Exactly. He had to wait 3-4 minutes for that. And he goes out there, cool, calm as he can be, puts it through. And then in overtime, having to hit extra point, and then the field goal that sent Rocky Mount to the.
It was an extra point.
It wasn't an extra point.
It was an extra point field goal, extra point.
That's right. And now I think they tried to freeze him twice before when we kicked it. Chase Miller, and you can also say it's a career award.
Yeah.
Because I had to give it to him after kicking that field goal to win the state title last year.
Not bad.
So Chase Miller is your specialist of the year. All right, and now, folks, our coach of the year. Here at the All New Sports Show, we love a good record.
We do.
Don't get me wrong. I love an undefeated record. That's fantastic. But, folks, sometimes to us, you just have to look a little deeper than just, this team was undefeated. He was the best coach.
We do also. We love Brian Foster.
Oh, God.
He's been an award winner. He's won this award.
He has won this award. He has been the Charles Austin Memorial Coach of the Year.
Yes, he has.
But this year, folks, when we looked at it, and, let's start off with the guys who could have easily deserved it and didn't win it. Brian Foster.
Yep. Absolutely.
Great year at Southern Nash. 12-1. The highest ranking Southern Nash has ever achieved at the end of the season. Believe they were in the last poll, they were number 2 in the state. Fantastic. Jason Battle went back to another state championship game this year. Took a Rocky Mountain team where he had to rebuild the offense. He had a great season. Could have easily won this. I believe he was last year's winner of this award. Jeff Craddock, who we love Jeff Craddock about as much as we love Oxygen.
Yes.
Another fantastic year, forged in the crucible. Went down, gave Wallace Rose Hill all they could handle before bowing out. But folks, when it came down to it, what did we tell you earlier? For 4 years, we have slaughtered the Nash Central program.
Even more not on TV.
Oh God, we're terrible off TV.
Yeah.
For the lack of discipline, for the lack of players looking like they wanted to be there.
Absolutely.
For just everything, so many things you could kill them on. This year, Chris Lee's second year at Nash Central, he's turned around the Titanic.
Yes.
And folks, they were taking on water. I mean, they were getting the lifeboats out of Nash Central. Chris Lee has come in. He's gotten his welders down there. They've sealed up that hole. And Nash Central is not only afloat again. We talked about it. Nash Central is trending upward. They had a fantastic season. Not only got them back to a winning season, got them in the playoffs. As you talked about earlier, that playoff game with Eastern Alamance where they could have rolled over, played dead, and said, hey, it was a great season. They came back and they made as much a football game of it as they could. For changing the culture, for winning 7 games at Nash Central, which a lot of us didn't think was possible.
Finishing third in the conference.
Finishing third in the conference behind 2 teams that ended up in the top 5 in the state. At the end of the day, Chris Lee is your Charles Austin Memorial All-New Big 22 Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And I thought it was far and away the easiest choice we've ever made.
Yeah. Apparently not to other people. But I think you're exactly right. It is... This is very well deserved. I still remember the first time, and I guess the last time we did preseason coach interviews back in 2015. We talked to Chris Lee and we were like, okay, it seems like you're wanting to change some things, and we kind of then looked at each other afterwards and it's like, they're still gonna be terrible.
Yeah, and they were.
They won 1 game in his first year.
Yeah.
But you still started to see some better things, and then as we looked at them a little bit more this year, we saw the game against Southwest. Their next step is start kind of like you talked about Terrell Hudgens. It's going to be the next step is to win games they're not supposed to win, but still they kept Southern close. They scored the most points against Southern that anybody had until Rocky Mount did what they did in the second round of the playoffs. They lost Rocky Mount by 6.
Yeah.
This is a really good team. I want to see them take another step, but what Chris Lee has done in 2 years at that school, I thought was going to take at least 5. And again, also nothing against Randy Raper, but you've seen how 2 programs who were somewhat in similar places have dramatically shifted under Chris Lee. This is fantastic.
And Brian Foster was named the Big East Coach of the Year by the All Conference.
And he had a great season.
That's fine. I mean, they had a great season. They were undefeated. They had a great run. But at the end of the day, I'm looking for something that. Here's the thing. I mean, we went into the season, we said, oh, it's a coin flip. Is it going to be Rocky Mountain or Southern Nash is going to win the conference? It's a coin flip. And Southern did exactly what they were supposed to do. What Chris Lee did, and then after week 1, where they got absolutely demolished by Tarboro, I think we all looked at each other, okay, same old Central. And after that, they basically ran off a 7-3 run after that. I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer vote. I'm looking for the story. I want that. I want to know who really went in and did something special in a season. Southern was great. It was a special year for Southern. But if you had told me at the beginning of the year Southern's going to be 12-0 going into the second round of the playoffs,
I can believe that.
Or Nash Central's going to win 7 games and go to the playoffs, I would have taken that Southern bet every day of the year, twice on Sunday, and I would have bet my house, my truck, both my children on it.
Both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I would have done it because I knew that I had a much better feeling that was going to happen. Chris Lee, maybe coaching job of the decade at this point in this area. Coaching job of the decade.
And that's after Jason Battle just won a state title last year.
Exactly.
That was our coach of the year.
So congratulations to these guys. They are our of the years.
Well done.
last one we done. We have fun doing that every year, folks.
Yeah.
We love recognizing the guys around this area, and we hope everyone enjoyed that.
Yeah. Something else we enjoyed.
Sort of.
Do you want to start pointing them out now?
I'm not going to drink that stuff. I'll tell you that much, folks. The final standings of the final Crystal Clear Pepsi.
Yeah.
6-pack challenge.
Powered by Mountain Dew. Please, no guys, really, go play Titanfall 2.
Don't do that.
It's an amazing game.
Don't do it. It's going to be so
There's
bad.
nothing in it. There's
literally no fizz left in it. That's going to be terrible. You know you're going to throw these away in a few minutes.
Oh, I know. Because these are literal poison. They are awful. We can say that now.
Shit, they're terrible.
These are awful. Don't actually drink these. Go buy Titanfall 2. That's a great game.
Sure.
These are terrible.
Ooh. Saw some Crystal Clear Pepsi at the market the other day. Didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. So, as you know, year in, year out, the Fab Four, as we call ourselves, we're kind of like the Beatles with no talent at all. Myself, Edward Green, Tony Dowdy, Clint Williams. Weekly, we would do our picks, our games in the area.
Yes.
As it got later in the season, we would branch out to other places. And as we said, we would go until everyone was finished in the area. Rocky Mount took us down to the last weekend of high school football. Second straight year they did it, so we ran it all the way to the end. So Ed,
going into the last week, let's set it up. You were behind Tony Dowdy by 1. I was behind by 2. The last week of the season also represented St. Clinteringham's Day, when Clint had no chance to catch the top 3 in any capacity.
kind of happen all the time.
Yeah. So
We could have basically said that was week 1, but we like to let him play.
we start with you. A 3-for-3 week. We did all state championships.
I had to take some chances here. My biggest one, I knew Walters Hill was going to win, but I had to go against Tony because I was trying to catch him. So.
And Mrs. Rocky Mount over South Point, Mrs. Page over Wake Forest, Mrs. West
Weddington
Montgomery.
was my big pick to actually win, though, that I got right.
Weddington got Dudley, who dominated Cape Fear,
Yeah.
and Murphy over Plymouth. So West goes 3-3 on the week, 65-25 overall. This was a year that did not start out well for almost anybody.
No.
Still finished 40 games above 500. Tony also went 3-3. If you just almost. Rocky Mount picked Eastern Guilford over Weddington, got that wrong. Picked Page over Wake Forest, but he did get Walters Hill, did get Dudley.
See, that one, I was tied at that point. I was never really tied because that happened
That
on
was
Friday
first,
night.
yeah.
But,
As we watched,
so
Tony goes 66-24. I went 4-2, 1 game short. I got the Wake Forest over Page, Walters Hill, Murphy, Dudley, missed on Eastern Guilford, missed on
we all missed on Rocky Mount. Or did Clint? Who knows?
No, he did. Why didn't I pick South Point and totally betray my team to Tony Dowdy? Clint, how else would he finish the All News Sports Show than an amazing 1-5 week?
St. Clearingham's Day is every day, folks. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got Wake Forest. He was the only one that got Wake Forest over Page.
Yeah. No, he wasn't.
Oh, did you get that? Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did too.
Good job, Clint.
Yep.
Killer boots, man.
Which means the final standings of the final official Crystal Clear Pepsi 6-pack. Tony Dowdy wins at 66-24. Wes, just as our soccer teams are entwined at the table, so are we in second place, 65-25. This is not a typo. Clint is really 11 games back of us and 12 back of Tony.
Clint is the Crystal Palace of our... Since we have Crystal Pepsi, Clint is our Crystal Palace.
Can we just talk about Andy Carroll for a second?
Oh, Andy. All right, so that will wrap that up.
Yeah.
And so that kind of wraps everything up here from
basically it.
From the Panic Room.
Yeah,
we're kind of out of stuff to talk about, folks. 5 years. Don't know how many shows. We didn't really keep. I mean, we could figure it out, but we're not going to.
No.
That kind of does it for the All New Sports Show.
It's weird. Never. Yeah. These are terrible. Please, nobody drink.
Horrible. God, Crystal Pepsi's amazing, huh?
Yeah. You know who else?
We did bring that back.
We did.
Single-handedly. We were calling this Crystal Clear Pepsi like 5 years ago, and it came back. So. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. You're welcome for that awfulness.
What were you going to throw in there?
I was going to say, who else is great?
Who's that?
Those people know that notepad you have.
Yes, folks. Here we're gonna finish this up, folks. We want to say thank you to a lot of people. Because, folks, as bad as we were, there were a lot of people who helped drag us up from the mud, much like Batman, that helped pull us out of the hole. I don't know why I got on this Batman.
I don't know.
I don't even watch this shit that much. A lot of people to thank. We want to start off on the guests.
Yes.
The guests of the All New Sports Show, the people who bring the actual expert part to the show.
Lovely call-ins.
Lovely call-ins.
Occasionally would come to the studio.
Exactly. We've been doing these for a few years now. From the Wilson Times, Paul Durham, Jimmy Lewis, you guys, you delivered.
Yes.
That's
why we gave Paul Durham his own show.
We did give him his own show. Did it ever make the pilot? Did the pilot ever make air?
The pilot made it. It's never made it air.
We tried.
Contract stalled.
But big thanks to those two guys in the Wilson Times. You know, folks, in all actuality, if you haven't figured it out yet, we were more based out of Nash and Hitchcock ourselves.
That's crazy.
So we didn't really have that much insight into Wilson County. We really relied a lot on Jimmy and a lot on Paul, and they really brought it. Jimmy, especially the last few years. Tom Ham, not so much.
Really? Get on Twitter, Tom.
Dude, get on Twitter, dude.
It's not that hard.
I mean, and it would have been nice if you called us once, but, whatever. And our buddies from the Rocky Mountain Telegram, had a few more of them because they came and they went. Jesse Nunnery. Now, he was the constant. He was the glue. Jesse Nunnery, the sports editor of the Rocky Mountain Telegram. Jesse did a lot of stuff for us early on, but then he said, I want you to use my guys, let them get the exposure. Jesse always very, very gracious to step back and let his writers be the stars.
Yes.
And for Jesse, man, dude, you do a great job. The Rocky Mountain Telegram, I think, is a fantastic sports page. And as he said, you are the glue behind that.
Yeah.
Now, if we've left anybody out, we went back as far as we could think.
Yeah.
Which, due to the peyote, you never know how far back that is. I know we started off Justin Hite, Nick Petrovich.
Yes. Oh.
They were massive. Justin was very combative with us. Justin liked to talk a little smack.
Yeah.
Petrovich, on the other hand, Nick Petrovich was our soccer brother.
Yeah.
Brother in arms.
If you ever watched our when we used to have this animated, and you liked our all new sports show, 60 Seconds of Soccer intro. Yeah. If you ever wonder why a random Wolves logo went down the middle of the screen, that's for Nick.
That was for Nick.
Big Wolves fan, Wolverhampton Wanderers.
And lucky for him, when Liverpool beats Plymouth, we'll see you guys in the fourth round.
Yes.
To destroy your dreams.
Exactly.
So big thanks to them. Justin now with the University of Oklahoma. Nick up somewhere in Ohio. Followed the Buckeyes this year. Spoiler, he really hates the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't get you fired, pal.
He loves some Toledo.
Foster Lander,
a
guy who was here for a while. Andrew Ivins did a great job. Andrew's in my part now. Andrew writes for the University of Miami. He's a Hurricane.
After going to the Notre Dame?
FIU. Yeah, he went to Notre Dame and then came to Miami. And so, Andrew's had a good thing in there. Foster wasn't here that long.
Yeah.
University of Georgia guy. We got along really good with Foster. He was a gooner, but we forget him for that. Ethan Joyce, Patrick Mason, the two guys who are here now.
Wonderful.
Just fantastic guys. We got to really know them over the last few months. They've got a love, and they just do so much. They were on our last episode with us in the round table. I see her down there. Kitty. But just so much thanks to those two guys for everything they do here for us. And I know it seems like I'm leaving one out, but folks, the last one I'm going to mention, he kind of holds a special place in our hearts.
We love him.
We love him most of all. We love all you guys, but most of all, our boy Josh Wallfish, Louis Van Wallfish.
Great coach.
Not a good coach, great journalist. Josh now up with James Madison doing his thing. Spent a special spring with Josh coaching 3 and 4-year-old soccer here in the Rocky Mountain area. Probably still to date, beside our mothers, our biggest fan of this show.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Josh did so much for us, and we thank him so much. Would come on the show with a drop of the hat. No one else like ever. Yeah, we'll call you. Josh's like, oh, come on. We're like, okay, career.
And would actually watch us before coming in, so he knows what we would talk about.
But for all those guys, man, they took this show to another level, which was a level of basically decent.
Went from the 7th circle to the 5th circle.
Exactly. So thank you to all you guys over the years.
Unofficial third members of the show?
Unofficial third members. Oh, there's so many third members. Baseball Brit.
Great.
Baseball Brit since day one, since before the All New Sports Show. Baseball Brit's been like the unofficial third.
We got to go see them in Lander, cover the B2 World Series.
That's
right. Amazing. Now he's at App State. So if they make it to the College World Series, we'll still say we're doing this show and go cover it.
Oh, hell yeah, we will. So Baseball Brit, big thanks. Tony Dowdy.
Oh, you saw his picture.
Tony Dowdy.
He goes out as a winner.
He's literally been like the. Tony's more actually the official third member of the show.
Yeah.
Because Tony, we always called Tony. He was our Mariano Rivera. When one of us couldn't be around for something, hey, we call Tony. Tony comes right in, starts throwing that damn cutter, and nobody can hit him. Did a great job, Tony. Thank you so much. And Tony's done a lot for me over the years. Yeah. One of the guys who got me into doing everything. So big thanks to Tony. Unofficial third members. God, there have been so many.
Charles Alston. Someone just commented on it. So
Charles Alston, of course, the stat man.
Yes.
Our greatest loss. Yeah. To this day, our greatest loss. All of my children have been unofficial third members.
Yes, at some point or another.
A few of my baseball players, thanks a lot, guys. Grant Johnson's helped us out with some stuff in the past. Big thanks to Grant. The official third leg of the tripod.
Yes.
That's you, Deuce. That's Clint Williams, folks. He was the cameraman. Clint actually did more for us, say, in the Friday night high school football game of the week. But he did filmed all our interview segments for us, pretty much.
Did co-host once or twice?
Did co-host a couple times. Sat in, wore a face cut out of you once. We didn't fool anybody, Clint, but we tried. Big thanks to him. Yeah. Hey, big thanks to WHIG TV.
Yeah.
I mean, without them, the All New Sports Show never starts. For One Name Producer Lee.
Oh, love One Name Producer.
One Name Producer Lee, big time. Big thanks to him. Big thanks to the ladies at Restoration who would be there before us every now and then. Yeah. So they did a great job. And then finally, One Name Technical Field Producer Jackie.
Yeah, One Name Technical Producer Jackie. Yes. We're a special guest.
With Mittens.
Why are you clapping?
Come, Mittens. Oh. With Mittens the cat. Who wanted to come sit with me.
Yes, of course.
Actually did not want to be anywhere near me, but she will be. This is Mittens.
This is great.
This is going on the rails. Like, okay, you can get down now.
All right. You're going to throw her for a second.
We'll see you throw her. I'll never throw her. Big thanks to all those folks. I mean, they made it big. They made everything happen for us.
If you liked our coverage of if you liked our coverage of this year's state title, big thanks to Clint Williams who helped us with that. If you liked our coverage of last year's state title, big thanks to One Name Technical Producer Jackie. Absolutely. She was, because unfortunately you...
The cruise. Oh, the cruise.
The damn cruise.
Damn cruise.
Oh, and Tony Dowdy wanting to experience it as a fan, and
no, I'm good.
And One Name Producer Jackie was my help producing that state title game last year that Rocky Mountain won. Without her, that pretty much wouldn't have been possible.
Absolutely.
So, fantastic.
So, we'd of course like to thank all the coaches
that
we've dealt with over the years.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Yeah, seriously. Special, and this is going to everybody. Special thanks. Mike Gainey was always amazing with us. We used to joke with him. Well, we talk to you all the time because you win all the time. It helped. Jeff Craddock always did great for us. Yeah. Magnificent. Brian Foster. B.W. Holt when he was there, just fantastic. Big thanks to all those guys. Stevie Hennett would do a lot for us when we got to Hunt. Big thanks to him. And like we said, folks, thank you to everybody. Those are just some guys who really, really stood out, did some good things for us. We've done baseball, we've done basketball, we've done football.
Tony did volleyball.
We've done a lot. We've seen a lot over the last 5 years. Yeah. So to the football coaches we got fired, we mean European football coaches we got fired.
That opening graphic used to be a lot different.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I think we thanked about everybody. I'm sure we've forgotten someone. Folks, if we've forgotten someone, we're sorry. The last big thanks we want to give are you, the viewers of the All New Sports Show. If you were sticking with us through thick and thin from the early days on WHIG.
If you're still watching us now, thanks.
Oh, wait. Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
Hi, Edward's mom.
Yeah.
Our two biggest fans still since day one.
Absolutely.
To Chris Falk, who sent us our only email.
And also tried to call.
Don't forget, folks, our first ever guest was Todd Gurley.
Yeah. We made him.
I mean, we made the guy.
You're welcome, Los Angeles and Georgia.
You're welcome, America. Folks, I guess we'll end this the way we always end it.
Yeah. Actually, if one named technical producer Jackie could get me the remote. Just the Apple TV remote.
Oh.
Because there is a way we can actually end this.
Oh, are we gonna? Is it gonna be?
With something I discovered.
Is it gonna be Bette Midler?
On not that.
Hey, Jurgen.
Something we discovered going through Netflix the other day.
Awesome.
Not Parks and Rec. I do love the Parks and Rec though.
Watching it too.
No, this is something. If the Netflix will load. Great television. We know it ended. Not Jim Gaffigan. It's all the way at the end of my list. Now you can see what I watch on Netflix. Something we found. Because there is only one way to really end this show. And that is with the man who has inspired us to greatness.
For he is Latin, and none are finer.
No.
Even though he did.
Turn this down in case they're swearing, but look at that man.
Though he did get a BS draw on us today.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Zlatan, who is probably still our best interview ever, actually.
Yes.
We interviewed that man.
He's been on our show. He talked to us.
It was wonderful. He actually liked us.
It was crazy.
He hates the media. He liked us.
Mm-hmm.
It's
been great.
It's been a pleasure.
It has.
It's been great. He's Ed Green. Mm-hmm. I'm Wes Bradshaw. We will not see you guys again on the All New Sports Show. You can get us on the
check us on the podcast.
Fair Pod, folks. Keep checking out the Facebook. Keep checking out the Twitter. We'll have some stuff for you.
Yeah, don't worry. We're not going completely away. We're just going away on TV. So I can't unbutton this.
Ed,
it's important.
You are the wind beneath my wings.
Thank you, my friend. It's been a pleasure.
Good night. Good luck from the All New Sports Show.
The assault is over. Throw that pen one more time.